I would put music and some audio cues in this intro, but I don't have any. Sorry.
夢に見ていたあの日の影に届かない叫び消えない願いに濡れる
Fate Prototype, an animated digest released alongside Carnival Phantasm Season 3, is quite possibly the most interesting curiosity to appear in anime form related to Fate Stay Night. It represents a reimagined approximation of a concept that will later be changed up, gives light to a plot that never was, brings forth ideas that were scrapped or changed in its finality, and gives us a brief but really fascinating insight into characters who would shape into the ones we would eventually get. You see, Fate Stay Night wasn't always going to be the Fate Stay Night we know. In fact, if this is any indication, things might have taken a much different path. Granted, things don't appear to be very clear as to how this particular version of Fate Stay Night might have transpired, but I'm willing to bet that it would have made for one hell of an experience. The plot, as far as I've seen and read on the wiki, was to be a drastically different beast. It was going to be about a girl named Ayaka Sajo, the last surviving member of her family due to the previous Holy Grail War, where her father and sister were both killed in the conflict and appears to live a normal life. Then again, to say you live a normal life in the goddamn Nasuverse is almost like saying you'll only jump out of an airplane if someone else pushes you out of it. Of course, shit hits the fan as she is promptly tossed into a grand battle royale for the Holy Grail after her life is seemingly threatened by some guy with a deadly weapon who's revealed to be— oh my god, is that Lancer? He looks so much more badass than what he ended up looking like, with all that armor and shit. Definitely a step up over Captain Spandex over here. But just before her life is about to be impaled out of her, a force flows from inside her, summoning a powerful warrior. The strong female king of knights, my waifu, Saber! Wait! You're not a chick, you're a dude! With a dude face and a dude body, and you're smiling. That's not what Saber did when she was summoned. This dude Saber seems chill as fuck! What the hell is going on? Yep, believe it or not, there was a time where Saber was actually a dude, more in line with his identity as King Arthur, with Ayaka being essentially the original version of Shiro. Getting its start back when Kinako Nasu was in high school, Fate Stay Night was originally going to be a novel, much like Karen the Kyokai was, but because of the success of Tsukihime, they decided to retool the story and transitioned it away from being a novel to instead become a visual novel. And in order to appeal to target visual novel demographics, their characteristics and traits were changed to reflect that decision. This meant that the gender roles had to be switched, and thus, the chick turned into a dude, while the dude turned into a chick. And you could put together the pieces from there. But those two are not the only ones who changed. Originally, Rin Tosaka would not have been Rin Tosaka at all, but someone named Misaya Rerokan, a girl who is said to have had a similar fundamental backstory to her final counterpart, but if her scenes are anything to go by, she would have been a much darker and sadistic character. Kirei Kotamine's original counterpart, Sankried Fan, would have almost played a similar antagonistic role as he does in the final version, except he looks to have been a much more psychotic character than Kirei's calm, calculating, and exacting demeanor. And the digest gives us a peek into the rest of this unfinished concept, such as the other characters that never made the cut, like the original counterparts of Elia, Ryder, and more, including Archer, the original version of Gilgamesh, who— well, let's not kid ourselves, Gilgamesh didn't really change all that much from this version, and this really fucked up looking kid. Looks like he needs a Subway sandwich. Also, despite the inclusion of the Holy Grail War, the system of which the Grail War utilizes would have had a distinct difference compared to the final version, mostly in how the actual masters themselves were to be categorized. You see, each person would have had something called master degrees, each with a name. This hierarchy is comprised of princes, powers, virtues, dominions, thrones, cherubim, and seraphim. And though this might have been intended to add some kind of class warfare element, don't quote me on that. Unfortunately, Fate Prototype doesn't give us a clear picture as to how this master degree system was going to work in its practical application, and the wiki's explanation doesn't cover all the bases. But even so, combine these details with the grim tone and something that alludes to this vision's take on heaven Heaven's Feel, and you have a 12-minute digest that doesn't show much, yet shows plenty. Even from this, you can see all the elements that would create the Fate Stay Night we know today. From the ideas, to even the characters that would later evolve, this may be a montage, but this totally succeeded in making a very intrigued impression on me, becoming interested by this old variation of the story. I actually kinda wish it were a novel as it was intended, or even as something else like a manga, or an anime, or a film, or something. I would love to see Fate Prototype in its entirety, if only for the sake of curiosity. Now, I wanted to keep this video rather short, and I'm going to say for the record that I don't know everything about what Fate Prototype brings. I just know I like it. And even if we'll never get the full picture of what this story was, I guess at the end of the day, what we were given is more than enough.